Hey, this is Tamago. Welcome back to Railing. In the previous episode, we finished off the Explorers line at the Mushroom Island station, and today we'll be working on some local lines that we didn't get to work on previously. Specifically, today we're going to be working at the tram lines in Tradesville. The reason why I want to make a local line in Tradesville is because there are surrounding nearby villages that are just far enough that they are inconvenient to walk on foot, but close enough for a local line, but too close for a proper metro line. Just a couple quick notes though before we start. You may notice some of the rails are 3D now. In fact, all of them, because we are on beta 16 of the 4.0 mod. I also switched up the train model here to be the S trains because we have automatic trains, so there is nothing blocking our view. Okay, and last but not least, I have chosen tram lines because unfortunately buses are still not a thing. I am aware that a Accountant left a comment on episode 21 of the series suggesting me to use request stops, but unfortunately I don't think that's a thing yet in the beta. Buses are not a thing here yet. So we'll just be working on tram lines. Let me just briefly go over the rail plan that I have for now. So of course we'll have our interchange station here with the metro nearby the metro line itself, and that will be our Tradesville station. And I want to connect these two villages down here. So we'll probably have a station somewhere around here where there's an empty area. So this is all like a mountainy area. So just going beside it down here near the river. And then we're going to slowly climb up this hill and into this E marker that I have over here. This is a nice spot to be facing the bridge over here and Tradesville itself. So it's a nice view. I do want to have a stop over there. And to connect these two stops, we are just going to go underneath the river and the metro line. I also want to connect these two villages up here. So I think I'm going to curve right over here to somewhere around here in this empty plains area. And then I will curve over here, potentially going through here. I don't remember what the terrain was like. And then just stopping somewhere over here at this top village over here. This was the reason why I didn't want another metro station over here, because that will make this tram stop obsolete, although it's still fine. It's just that I thought there was already too many stations. This was too close to each other. But I would agree that would have been quite a nice stop. Okay, I think one of the first decisions you have to make is choosing a tram. And look at this. The new 4.0 stuff with a bunch of GUI or, I don't know, World UI stuff to guide our tracks. That's actually quite nice. You could actually see in real time what the tracks are going to look like. But yeah, this is going to be a temporary depot, but we'll just draw one over here so we can check out what the trams look like. Okay, so I just searched up light rail and it seems that they are actually quite long. 23 blocks long, huh? I would assume these are relatively long because all of them are not the mini versions. They're just the regular versions. Okay, let's take a look at how long this would actually be. Might have to rethink whether it's going to fit the scale or not. But we'll try our best. So if we search light now, they should all fit. All right. Yep, that is quite a long tram, is it? One key feature of the Hong Kong trams is that they are only one-sided. So you see this is a left hand. I don't know what the T stands for, but it is left hand. So you see that there is only doors on the left-hand side and none on the right. Therefore, it is quite important to have like a loop turn back at the ends of the line to make sure that they will go on the correct side. Most of these trams look very similar, so I don't think it really matters which one we choose. More avid fans of trams would probably scream at me at that statement. But let's just choose this phase 5 orange livery one. So we will choose the left-hand drive as that is what our convention in this world is. For the actual depot, I think I am going to be placing it in this village over here. We have plenty of space over here, and in here it is very hilly, so it's not very convenient. But okay, it's going to be quite a challenge. But we're going to try our best in terms of doing curves with this, because this is quite a long tram. All right, to get us started, let us build the stop near the Tradesville village itself, or we call this the Villager Metropolitan Area. So let's leave some space between the footpath and the raised platform where we will have the stop, because I think I will leave them on the ground level, the tracks that is. And I will try to allow a 10 block curve. Like there should be 10 blocks in between the rail nodes. Let's try to see how big that would be. Let's try to have an initial speed of about 40. So 40 kilometers per hour, and then we'll probably speed up to 60 using the emerald rail connectors. The trams themselves are like slightly over 20 blocks, so hopefully this should be gentle enough. Trams do curve tighter curves, by the way, compared to the metro lines. So it was 23 blocks, and I do want to make this as short as possible because it is already quite long. Okay, now time for the part where it goes underwater. I don't know how many blocks we need to give to go down all the way here. So we want a 5-block tunnel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the minimum is this, but we'll give 1 block space. And I'm fine with going through the water personally, at least a bit. Okay, so we go from here and continuing straight. And I will use a tunnel creator directly, I think, all the way over here. Maybe just like a couple blocks before. Okay, slightly steep, but we're going to have to make do with it. Now we're going to dig straight through under here into the river. I'm expecting to hit the water pretty soon. Actually, to save some space, maybe immediately after we have passed these rails, we'll try to curve upwards directly. So we're going to have to do some water building work. So this would be the last time we are just going straight down here. And we'll make our emerald connectors here for the 60 kilometers per hour limit. Quite fitting for a village for trading. Okay, and now let us try to head upwards. I think I'll try to go here. So 7 blocks upwards and on this Y level. Yeah, it's just a bit steep, but we're gonna have to make do with it. And we'll tunnel crater this. And now we are going to have the same 15 block curve. Actually, I think we'll move this like a couple blocks across so we have a bit more space for the platforms and it doesn't interfere too much with the village house. So this would look something like that. And this would go this way. I should put this tape measure away when I'm done because it is quite in the way. All right, so for the second stop, I think we'll have it underneath this hill over here. And I just cut down these trees here just to make some way for it. The idea I had was after this stop is done, we are going to exit out on this side over here and we're going to slope up to that end stop over there. Okay, so after the platforms, we are going to speed right back up to the emerald rails out of here. Okay, after a bit more tunnel creator work, here is the finished tunnel. By the way, we'll be doing the building later. I just want to make sure that we can actually get tracks of this magnitude here and make sure it all runs okay. Then I'll do the building. Okay, and I think for this one, we will go on a very, very, very long slope. This is why I should sleep earlier. Actually, let us do an intermediary stop over here because we are just slightly off to where we want to be. So we will do a curve just on nice plain ground, so it's a bit nicer to build on. And yeah, that's a nice thing with the live rails as well. You could exactly see what the curves are going to be like and whether that is aligned or not without having to use waypoints. Gotta be careful with my elytra I use. Okay. So I guess let me just make it clear from above here. Oh, looking good. Look at this, 2 lines. But I want to end somewhere over here. There's this nice flat area where we just have some space, you know, for some platforms here. Let's try to stop somewhere over here. So our platforms would be 23 blocks long. So that would be over here. Okay, now let's try to curve down from here to the same Y level that we had before. And then we can do that curve on level ground. And I completely forgot what Y level we were on. We are on Y70. We might have to dig down into the floor here. Because I'm not sure if I go all the way down here, I don't think that's enough space because this is Y70. I don't think that's enough space for us to, yeah, look at that. Very, very tight. So probably here is a nice place to dig down just a bit. Oh, it's going to make the trams look really ugly though. Perhaps you can go like 2 blocks higher maybe. I mean, a 2-block curve wouldn't hurt, right? Let's try the S-curves and see if they'll cooperate this time around. Yeah, nope, that's not going to work. Let's try some intermediary nodes in the middle, maybe. So somewhere over here. So this is 71, the middle Y level. Okay, looking much better here. So that should do it for this segment. Okay, and last but not least, I think we can do the, well, I don't know if I would call it ugly, but it's definitely a big thing. So we're going to try to hide it underneath this hill over here. And so here would be a level crossing to that area. All right, so the general idea is we are going to turn left and then do a U-turn, go straight and do another turn, well, just one turn right in this case. The reason why is because we don't have enough space just for a single U-turn here. Of course, we can do the Johnson style turn back, but let's try to do it proper way here, because this would be the actual end of the line. And it seems that we hopefully have enough space for this. Okay, after some time, I think I got it done. So it kind of looks like this. So we basically have no turn backs. We just loop around over here. And then we finally loop back onto this side here. And then we are on our way once more. And yeah, although no passengers will see it, well, maybe they will. I don't know. I guess if they stay on a tram, but look at this. Nice opening to this area here. I just had to add a bit of stone so that the rails are on top. Okay, and that is the, I guess, southbound side done from the Villager Metropolitan Area. Well, almost. Unfortunately, there are some other fixes I need to do. I made these tunnels bigger because, yeah, 23 blocks is quite long and they would clip through the wall otherwise. It's definitely a mental model that I'm not used to, given that we've worked with much shorter metro trains. The other thing I did was I made these into the slowest rail connectors we have, which is the wooden rail connectors, because, yeah, these are very, very tight curves and it looked horrible with the faster ones. I also made these more spaced apart, these intermediary rail nodes to curve, because again, they are very long, so they were clashing somewhere around here. So this helps space them out a bit more. And as you may expect, that curve was way too tight, so I gave it a bit more space to curve by getting rid of those nodes over there and just connecting it directly with this one over here. And it also leads to a much gentler curve, which was needed to not clip, well, clip a lot less, I guess, I should say, through these rail models. You might also notice that these rails are staggered, they're not equal. This gives more space for this side to go upwards, as you can see over here. And it spaces the curve out a bit more, again, avoiding that clashing between two trams going in opposite directions. And I did something similar for this side as well, making the slope gentler by pushing the platforms a bit backwards. And I was able to identify all of these problems by setting up a temporary siding over here, just some quick temporary stations and platforms, and just running the trams through them like infinite amount. Okay, now time for the northbound tracks, actually. I think we can go diagonally over there because we are too close to our 90-degree curve. Then we could land just somewhere over here on top of this hill. Okay, let's just start by trying to curve over here. It's going to be quite tight. There you go. Is that going to go through the house? Okay, let's just move this slightly to the left. I mean to the right. But now we get something very tight. Okay, because of this house, I don't think we can go at a 45-degree angle. So we will still try to go 90 degrees. Okay, since there is nothing above the water, I don't see why we can't just build over the water. That might be a pretty cool bridge idea with this thing going upwards. Okay, now that it's like a radius of 23 blocks, it should be much better. And then from there, we go upwards over here, just before the village. And we'll probably try to land somewhere over here. So that is a Y level of 71 or 72, either one of these. So let's see. I think this is enough space to curve to here. Let's give it a shot, shall we? So we would be somewhere over here. Or maybe just like before, a 2-block difference isn't too bad. So we'll just make it go over here at Y70. So that's a pretty gentle curve over there. And now let's see how we go with going to the village. That is a lot of space to curve, so it should be completely fine. It's mostly underground. I don't know if I like that or not. Although at the same time, maybe we should go higher because this is 75. Yeah, similarly to this. And then we'll land like somewhere over here probably at the end. Although, you know what? Maybe it'll be cool to cut through this natural cave. There's a bit of lava there that we'll clear out later. So let us throw in our tunnel creator work. Also, I'm pretty sure they made the tunnel creator stuff pretty quick, like much quicker now. It's almost instant. Look at this. But yeah, I think actually that ended up looking fine. Has some of these hanging things nicely integrated with the cave that we had before. And now we'll have our platforms probably over here, trying to have them as early as possible because we need to turn left again. So it was 23 blocks, so it would be over here. And then we turn left over here. Looking at it, it's actually going to be quite cool if we can go through there, but I don't think that's going to be enough space. Yeah, it's also just a bit diagonal, and I think it'll cause a big mess. So maybe just a bridge over here. And unfortunately, due to restrictions on this side, we can only have a 20 block curve. Let's see how tight this is, and if we need to give more space. Okay, it's actually looking quite wide. I hope it's enough space. We'll have to run trams through here to actually see whether that's true or not. Okay, so I'm intending to land somewhere over here so we can have a bunch of depots and much of space up here. We don't have as much down over here. So let's try to have a slight angle over this hill. So this is Y71. I'll try to keep it the same. The thing that's so nice about 4.0 is these previews allow me to take a look what the rails will actually look like. So I don't have to keep guessing. So probably something like that. And I will give additional space just to make sure that we do have enough. Learning the lesson I learned previously. Okay, and let's try to land somewhere over here. I think it would be nice if we had the stop over here, but then the problem is we cannot curve over here because we don't have enough space. So not ideal, but I guess we can have a stop maybe somewhere over here. And then once we are over here, we just have our 23 block platform, which actually runs quite far. And then we'll just do all the tunnel creator work. Okay, looking pretty good. Okay, this is nearly a 100 block curve, but I thought it might be a good idea to make the depot underneath this hill, so it's all just out of the way. Okay, so it'll look something like that. I just crosses a bit of the footpath, but I think it's still acceptable. All right, I'm not sure if this is enough, but this is plenty of space from over there to over here. I'm honestly not even going to try to make this look good, because it's going to be a big space. I'm just going to try to maximize the number of trams we have in this area. And this is already looking bigger than the base other side depot. Just because the trams are much, much longer here. I might actually take some time to mine some of this out by hand because that collects us some stone, useful building block. Okay, after plenty of digging later, here we have it. We have 10k stone right now. I don't think I'm going to dig the rest of this. I'll just use the tunnel creator for the last two. But the concept over here is the same as we had in base other side. So we just have a bunch of nodes all throughout here where they branch off into the depot siding. I am not going to bother signaling all of this. Yeah, it's just going to be like this. So what I've done over here is that I have a 3 block gap between each of these rail nodes. So 1, 2, 3. And then we have our rail node over here. And there you go. That is the last two with the tunnel creator. Because we have this already set up, why don't we just have all the rails set up by this point? So let's add a depot over here and name this the Tradesville depot. And I'm not sure if we could do this all at the same time. I guess we'll do it one at a time, but we will change this to the light rail, phase 5, left-hand drive. And while we'll add it, we'll just change the siding numbers appropriately as well. And yeah, indeed, we can do unlimited vehicles, but we'll not do that over here. That's why I made this whole big area. And now let's start to define the different stations, shall we? So this village over here is in an oak biome, and it's also near a cliffside. So similarly, we're going to name it Cliffside Oak, just like Cliffside Mesa. This next one over here is in a sparse jungle. This one I think I will call the villager Metropolitan Area. So it is special, and it should overlap with Tradesville. This way on the map, it will show up as an interchange in the dynamic map. This is near like a small river, so I'm going to call it South Waterway. And finally, this has a very nice view, so I will call this Scenic Hill, because it's also on a hill. And I think for all of the southbound directions, we'll have a platform number of 1 and a platform number of 2 for all the northbound directions. So we'll just quickly rename that. And now time to add our second route. This is in an oak biome, so maybe we'll choose like a brownish color. Because we've already used the green color before. Let's call this a Tradeline. And let's start with the northbound one first. So that would be all of the number 2s over here, like so. And then we copy this color, and then we add the the southbound one. And now we start over here, adding all of the number 1 platforms, like so. And last but not least, we go into Tradesville Depot, and then we just need to edit instructions and add our southbound one and then northbound because we are in the north. And if we just increase this by, let's say, 1 per hour, we might even be able to do more because of how many we have. I was just clicking shift there to change all of them at the same time, refresh path, and we probably messed up some routes. Oh, here's the mistake. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why I included a Tradesville over here. That shouldn't be there. Okay, now we should be good to go. I also made some rails faster. And there you go. Okay, 2 sidings are connected to the main path. Let's just quickly fix that. It looks like I've missed some of them over here. Okay. Oh, it's really hard to keep track of which is which though. It's not the end of the world if we get it wrong. So let's just try to get it connected. Okay, and now we should be good to go if we just double check everything. Refresh path, there you go. And now we should have our trams running, even though they are floating and we don't have actual stops. Let's try out the instant deploy feature. I don't think this works properly with limited number of trams, but let's just give it a try anyway. Okay, here's a tram. Editing that curve is okay. I'm not sure why it's very loud. Yeah, that one looks okay as well. And I think the rest of this should be good. Yeah, that looks like that's enough space. And I guess this is the last concern we have. All right, let's take a look. Okay, they are barely touching, but I think we'll make do with that. I think that's still barely acceptable. Okay, let's finally get to some building, shall we? So the very first stop I started off with was the Villager Metropolitan Area. This is the one that is at the metro station. So I used a very similar block palette here because I want to keep a consistent visual identity for all of the stops at Tradesville. And in particular, because this is a city type of station, I tried to make it more developed with a roof. Though it has a more open design because it is more meant to be a stop. We don't have turnstiles as well as you see over here. Notice that the frame is varied a bit. We have the oak frame inside instead of on the outer boundary. Okay, I'll talk about the common features of the stop later because we're out of time. Here's the next clip. But yeah, this is the underground tunnel to the next station, which is South Waterway. And I just kept it very simple. I made everything stone and added those supporting, not pillars, but beams, I suppose, up there and some light just to make it look nicer so we don't have too much dirt to look at in the ceiling. And now coming to the surface, something very simple as well. We have stone walls on both sides and I just added some glass so you could see through the water. Otherwise, it's standard stuff that we've done before, which is the slabs to smooth out the incline, as well as some lights, some torches and some lanterns. Now for the South Waterway station, I decided to try a different style because it is underground. So I used a bunch of diorite slabs there to hold up the dirt instead of having to replace all of that. So it's kind of like a holding thing, bit of an organic shape as you see here. So I tried to replicate that on the walls with the blocks that we were already using in the Tradesville metro station itself. Next up is developing the rails towards the Scenic Hill station, or stop I should say. It's a tram stop, not really a station. Used a very simple block palette here consisting of stone slabs as well as the boundary using stone bricks as well as pillars once in a while and lanterns underneath. So similar designs to what we've done before. These are trams and not large metros, so I didn't bother making them too sophisticated. Having a nice humble aesthetic is kind of nice in this context, I think, as we go into the more quote-unquote regional area, not far away from the city. But yep, more slabs over here and up to this long incline to the actual Scenic Hill place. While there's still some time, I'll talk about the common features, I suppose. Before, if you remembered, you saw there was some yellow terracotta for the level crossings because we are not building proper crossings here. It's just trams, not metro. And on the outer ends, we just have fences as guardrails as well as some torches to light up the area. And you see that I am using oak pillars over here to place some signs in the coming future. I've already placed the PIDs so far. But yeah, that would be where the exit sign is and the station stop and so on and so forth. But yeah, this being the furthest stop from the city area, I try to make it as simple as possible. So no roof here, just those pillars. But it still retains the same block palette and basic structure with the cobblestone stairs and the stone brick floor. Now, I called this place Scenic Hill because it actually has a nice scenic view. So I am building a path towards that, which is just above the village. So just some cobblestone walls there and some, cobblestone stairs and stone brick walls and some fences as guardrails again. Added some lighting with some torches and cobblestone walls below some of it. And here it is. Look at the view. It's so nice at night especially. But yeah, it leads to this place where it's just a nice scenic view of the bridge and Tradesville itself. And all there's left to do now that there is a path towards there is just to clear out the trees which are in the way of the view. And that is basically the southbound direction complete. Oh, also, you might notice that the rails are missing in some of these replay mod shots for some reason. They disappear in some shots. I could try to get them back for some recordings by reloading from the start, but it doesn't always work, so that's why some of them are missing. It is the way it is. But there you go, that's the view during daytime. Alright, once the southbound direction is done, it's time to go northbound from the Villager Metropolitan Area. And the very first thing we encounter is this area above the water. So we are just building a bridge with the same design as before, made up of stone bricks and stone slabs. And now here during the night, I am just lighting up the area. It's nice to do it at night to have a good idea of which places need more light. And this final segment here, we have just a slight incline. So I'm just filling it with slabs so it doesn't look too floaty, the rails that is. Now, after doing this, I felt that this tunnel segment through this area felt a bit plain, a bit raw. So I decided to add some cobblestone slabs over here just to make it feel more developed and make more sense. Like that hanging piece of dirt now is now supported somehow. And we have some decorations on the sides with this wave pattern that has been going on throughout the different builds to give it a bit of a consistent feel. And these also double up as a place to hang lanterns. So just a bit more light as you see over here. And on these corners here, I decided to fill them up with this pattern of like a grid or block-like thing with the slabs. Something just a bit different, you know? But yeah, now that that is done, we are at the next station. And this one's an interesting one because it is in the jungle. So a bit of the odd one out of the other ones. So I decided to use a similar block palette, but in this case with jungle wood and andesite, granite instead of diorite. Because I think it looks more similar over here. And it's like the other stone type that looks a bit, a bit out of place, a bit new. So I think that fits the aesthetic over there. And over here, I am just continuing the same pattern as before to make it consistent. You might also notice me before just now, I was not using wood for the base, just instead using chiseled stone bricks because I am out of jungle wood. It's been a while since I've built with jungle, so I haven't used the tree farm for that or did the manual 2x2 farming for that. And now over here, you can see a beautiful view as we bridge along this huge gap over here of Tradesville and the hill behind there and using the same design once more. And before you might notice, sorry, my commentary is a bit delayed. You might notice the sand falling there. It turns out that like hollow shaped cave thing was not solid. Some of the sand was just floating there, so most of it collapsed. So it's no more, but it is what it is. And now here we are reaching the other side. I'm sorry. more other side puns. And we have another gradual incline, so filling it with slabs once more. And here is the final stop in the Tradesville area, I guess. And this is in a wood area again, so Cliffside Oak. So we're using the same palette as before, just adapting it to the environment over here. In particular, you see some of the stairs going down to ground level, so it is easily accessible. But otherwise, it's just the same. We also dig in a bit into the hill over there. And I added some diorite slabs in the same wavy pattern as before for decoration to fill up that wall over there. And I just continue that application throughout this dirt wall over here as well, making sure to only place them in areas that is far away enough from the rails so we don't get too much clipping. But it also allows us to add some lights on the walls, which I think is quite nice. And once again, the satisfying part of lighting up the area at night with the torches. And of course, almost forgotten, but here we are building the pillars to make the area structurally sound, as well as placing some lanterns underneath so that the areas down there are not too dark because we built a bridge over it. And that is basically it. And just to comment on the diorite slab stuff before that I've done, it's a similar thing to what I did before in the South Waterway. It's just a different application of the diorite slabs, but similar in idea with holding up walls or ceilings in that case, giving it a nice consistent identity and recognizable identity. Anyway, I thought I was done. And I was like, oh no, I still need to build the bridge to the depot. So, well, just a tiny bit more work. It's not that bad because the bridge isn't so high over the land in this case. Just a couple blocks up, so building the pillars is much easier, if I can speak. And falling off isn't as annoying as before, where I kept doing that. But yeah, similar bridge design once again. It's just a basic curve and some pillars and lanterns underneath as well. Oh, and the fact that I use slabs here can be more clearly seen. It does add a bit of depth underneath the bridge. Okay, now that the building is finally done, the last final finishing touch is to add the signage to the station. So this is a tiny bit tricky because typically we have an entrance like that where you could just plop our station name over there and the line name. But over here, how do you do that? There's only one space that I actually allocated initially to the design for a sign, which is over here. But I suppose let's just start off with the platforms because we do need that here. So this one is towards Scenic Hill. And on the back, I think we will just label this as an exit like so. And this other one is towards the other way, northbound, which is towards Cliffside Oak. And we again have the exit signs. So I'll just duplicate this all over on the other side. Okay, there you go. Those are the signs ready and done. And I suppose for the station name, we could just place these on these things. Tiny bit small for this one, but it shouldn't be for the other ones as they have shorter names. Okay, cool. And I think for the line name, we will just put it over here, like usual. It seems that it would rather have a 2E wide, actually. It's quite a short name. There you go. And then over here, we will have just an exit pointing to both to the left and the right, because there are two. There you go. And I suppose on the outside, we could use this other side here to put in the station name, like so. All right, cool. So with that, I just need to replicate what I've done over there on the other 4 stations. And I suppose for the South Waterway station, we could even add the proper sign over here because this does have one single exit over here. And the rest, I just had to extend the ceiling a bit so that it could hang properly from the ceiling, like so, into full blocks. And similarly for the route sign as well as the exit sign over here. All right, and for Scenic Hill, same setup as before. However, there is no space to hang the signs in the middle. So I decided to just use the signs at the very end over here for both the exit as well as the line name. And now for the sparse juggle, similar deal to before to Scenic Hill, where we don't have space to hang the signs in the middle. So we just use these signs as both the exit signs as well as a Tradeline line name. And of course, we have our sparse jungle station name over here. And last but not least, for Cliffside Oak, we basically have the same exact setup. So similarly, the exit signs over there and the line name over there. But we do have the no entry stuff over here because this is the last stop in this northbound direction. Okay, so now I think I'll call the stations done, or I guess I should say stops. And we can get the trams running. I paused them before because it was in the way when building. But yep, main path generated successfully. And we should start seeing these trams. Almost hit trains. There you go. And I think we have enough for us to be able to instant deploy. Those are some very loud trams. But there you go. Basically, instant deploy feature just places the trams evenly spaced throughout. So we don't have to wait for all of them to cycle and fill out all of the different stops. But yeah, I'm just going to go away from the noise a bit to do my outro inside of the Cliffside Oak Village. But I think that's pretty much it. Slightly long video today, but I wanted to get this all done in one video because it logically makes sense, right? The entirety of the Tradesville tram line, or it's called the Tradeline. But yeah, we are coming very, very close to the end of this season. I think I will call it. Very, very exciting. But yeah, we still have some cleanup stuff to do with local lines next time around. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now I think I will give these trams a ride. As per usual, as we do with all at the end of these builds. Though this one's going to be quite a long one because we do have 5 stops to go through. Whoops, I forgot to fix that. That was temporary. That was just for centering those signs over there. Okay, back to the thing. Oh, and I forgot to put ticket stuff over here. That's good to know. Better follow that sign.